man. Well, it was nice to celebrate the win in Chicago while it lasted. But back to reality here is we have officially been swept by the Arizona Cardinals. But it gets better. We didn't just lose to the Arizona Cardinals. We lost to the Arizona Cardinals led by Colt McCoy and James Conner. And Christian Kirk was their wide receiver one because DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green were both out this game. They had multiple injuries on the offensive line themselves. Oh, and even Chase Edmonds was out. So, yeah, we lost to that version of the Arizona Cardinals. Our defense got gashed by that version of the Arizona Cardinals. 31-17 officially. Final score here. Jose, how are you feeling?
I'm not feeling good at all. That was about as pathetic of a performance as you could possibly have in that situation with basically the season on the line here, right? There was still some kind of, hope that they could maybe go on a little bit of a run here with two crucial games, including this one. And you just mentioned it. You cannot be losing to this team and losing this bad to this team and this personnel that they had out on the field. The defense, that was about as pathetic a defensive performance I've seen from a Niners team since I can remember. Even when even when we were probably one of the worst teams in the league, you knew the defense was going to show up and at least, work hard. That was not the case today at all. They were just getting gashed up by James Conner. Nobody could make a tackle. It seemed like nobody could bring down Colt McCoy, which just sounds ridiculous to me. Just saying it right now that we couldn't tackle Colt McCoy. He was making us look silly there in the backfield. And it was disappointing. We'll get to it as to the logistics of it, what really went wrong for the Niners. But I mean, where do we even start? Because there was so much wrong with this performance today.
You said it though. Make a fucking tackle. I mean, just James Conner just bursting by this little screen that he took for 45. There was that one play too where the backup running back came in and he just ran over Dre Kirkpatrick, just absolutely emasculated my man on the field there. That was just, I think that embarrassed it. It was essentially the Niners season game trucked by the Arizona Cardinals. That's what that play was. It was a lot more symbolic than just Dre Kirkpatrick missing a tackle. That was literally the Niners season getting trucked by the Arizona Cardinals in this game. And I know it sounds hyperbolic, but how can I even confidently look in this camera, confidently talk to you, Niners faithful, you, Jose, and say, this team still has an opportunity at a playoff spot? They're struggling to win games. I know technically we do, only because of the failures of the teams around us, only because of the failures of the Minnesota Vikings, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Carolina Panthers. But aside from that, this team, I can't confidently say they can compete because you look at this defense. God, we just got to hold this defense accountable for what it is. I know we were playing two young safeties there, but there was the trick play early on that was right after the Colt McCoy penalty, which that's a whole other subject there. Don't get me started on that one. There was that. And then there was the other 50-yard bomb whenever we had the Cardinals kind of backed up on our side of the field there. And those are just such dumb mistakes. And then you expect after halftime, okay, we had a bad first half. Let's make some adjustments. Let's clean this up. The offense, although it hasn't put up points on the board quite like we would like, they've been playing fairly well. Let's just try and keep this game close. No, come out after halftime and we're immediately getting cooked again. This was Jimmy Garoppolo's probably his best game of the season, honestly, for really looking at this from an objective standpoint. Yeah, he had the pick when we're doing a comeback mode later on, but that happens all the time. I'm not going to put that on Jimmy. You're just trying to make a play when you're down 14 with 3 minutes left on the clock. Overall, 28 for 40, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns there. It's hard to put that game on Jimmy at all, especially when you consider that we had 2 drives that were absolutely just ended by boneheaded turnovers there. I guess George Kittle, good play by the defender, punching it out. Aiyuk, he gets up and I don't know. He made up for it, I guess, with the touchdown, but you think about early momentum and what shifts the game around. That fumble early on when they're driving inside the red zone, you just can't have it. And I look at those 2 fumbles as the 2 biggest game changers of the game. Hell, the Cardinals scored 10 extra points off of those 2 turnovers there.
Yeah, that probably was the gut punch right there, wasn't it? It was nice seeing George Kittle out there making plays, but then the first big play that he makes, it turns into a turnover, and then it was just downhill from there. You mentioned the Brandon Aiyuk one. That's just super unlucky, right? He gets up, he's trying to make a play. He wasn't downed yet. And then he's basically like 2 inches away from the ground anyway. And the defender somehow still finds a way to punch it out of there. That right there was basically the difference of the game. That and just a pathetic performance by the defense. Also, I understand that Josh Norman fucked up and he gave basically Arizona an extra possession there in that penalty. But did you really have to sit him out the rest of the game? Like at first, that was my reaction too. I was like, oh, sit this idiot out for the rest of the game. What is he doing? But then you see who they replaced him with Drake Kirkpatrick. And I'm like, Josh Norman could have committed 3 penalties in the first half, and I don't care. I rather would have had him there trying to at least make that play.
Isn't that the sad thing? Josh Norman is the best person on this defense in terms of forcing turnovers because no one else is forcing turnovers on this team. Now, we're just one of the most unlucky teams when it comes to forced fumbles. I swear, I don't know what the stat is. I don't know where the leaderboard of it is, but I think the 49ers have to lead the league in forced fumbles not recovered because there was that easy one, that gimme
easy one.
Fred
Warner was right on top of it.
And I know we don't like to come down on Fred because he's been such a key part of this team, but Fred, that's your play to make. Yeah. I don't know if there's a regression after this contract, but 49ers fans are going to be talking about it because obviously he got broken off this offseason and we just haven't felt his presence in the same way. And then the defensive line is just getting gashed. The defensive backs can't do anything. There's no pass rush. There's no pressure. Eric Armstead, this is the first time I think I've seen him all season. One of those, of course, got washed by the penalty. And how, the commentators missed out on this opportunity. There was that moment, too, where the Arizona defenders literally mocking Eric Armstead by doing his little belly rub celebration. It was just a absolutely disappointing performance. So like you said, I think the pantheon of Niners football that I've had to watch, and we've seen a lot of rough Niners football in our lifetimes, that's for certain. This has to be up there as one of the worst games. I think this is somewhat comparable to the 2020 Miami Dolphins game. I saw some people throwing that comparisons out there where it's just like you have a defense that's struggling and the defense coordinator is just not adjusting at all.
I want to be honest with you. This is worse than that bad Miami loss. This was way worse. The season was basically over at that point. Jimmy Garoppolo was not going to come back anytime soon, healthy enough to play well. George Kittle was basically done as well. I mean, you had nothing to look forward to last year. And this year, there was a little bit of momentum going into the season. It's like we were getting healthier. Robbie Gould was back out there. Jeff Wilson is probably going to practice all week next week. And you had George Kittle back in the game this week. And you still come out with that type of performance. That's just so unsettling. And it's so disappointing, right? Just because the fact that it is mathematically possible for the Niners to still make a run here and get into the postseason. But that's literally the last of our worries right now. We just got to go back to fundamental football and defense, really. That's all it seemed like, that we just couldn't tackle. We couldn't tackle anybody.
And then it just gets better because next week, Monday Night Football, prime time, we get this Los Angeles Rams team. How am I going to have any confidence in this defense going against the Rams offense that's been rolling? I know any given Sunday. I mean, we just saw the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Buffalo Bills today. But I just can't even see these guys making tackles, forcing big plays. You need some turnovers. You need some things to break your way if you're going to beat a good Rams team on the road in Los Angeles. That might be the key there. We're on the road. We're not in Levi's. We haven't won a game in Levi's in over a year. As a head coach, I think that's a huge indictment on Kyle there as well. You have to win at home. There's some sort of thing that's not going through the guys' minds mentally whenever they're playing in their home environment that I think needs to be fixed or corrected. And I think that there just needs to be some tangible action here at this point. Like, I don't expect them to fire assistant coaches or coordinators mid-season, but it almost feels like the right thing to do. I mean, Demeco Ryan's is going to be a one and done coordinator. And there was some moments there in the middle games there were giving Demeco the benefit of the doubt, but this was far and away his worst coaching performance. And you just have to show some level of accountability. I mean, if you're going to hold Josh Norman accountable for the taunting penalty early on, then hold your coaches accountable, hold the staff accountable. Mm-hmm. Someone brought up a great point recently, not too long ago, that I don't think Kyle's ever fired an assistant coach or any kind of coordinator. How is it that we've been 5 years in and had 4 losing seasons, or going on 4 losing seasons, and we haven't made a single move like that. I know he gave Robert Saleh the benefit of the doubt in 2 years, and that worked out for him. But it's a big staff, and I feel like that no one has stepped up their level of coaching in the same way they expect the players to step up their level of play.
Right. A lot of this falls on Demeco Ryan's 100%. You should have been prepared even if you didn't know if Kyler Murray wasn't going to play or not. You have to have something prepared just in case Colt McCoy was going to be the guy going. Why would that's the only way Colt McCoy could possibly beat you, the way he beat you today. These little dump offs, these little 5-yard in routes, out routes with Christian Kirk. That's the only way he could have beat you. How do you not prepare for that, right? Like how does that not, how is that not part of the game plan? Making him beat you with the deep throws. I don't know what you have to do to make him do that, but do it.
In fairness, they did beat us at one point with the deep throw, and even threw in a deep throw by a wide receiver that beat us too. So we even got that. Right. All facets. Short
right,
passing,
but I mean, you live.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you live with it, right? You live with it. If Colt McCoy is just dashing you up 30 yards down the field, it's like, okay, well, our secondary is just that bad. But I mean, if you're literally playing into what the only thing he does well, then there was no chance in this game at all. So this 100% falls on the game plan of Demeco Ryan's. I know it's his first year as a defensive coordinator, but I mean, at some point, your knowledge, which he has plenty of football knowledge. I mean, he was in the league for over 10 years. At some point, your football knowledge has to take over there and say, okay, the only way this guy could beat us is these little intermediate routes. So we got to take that away. And they didn't do that. And that was pretty disappointing to see.
Hey, on the bright side, hey, we get a higher round draft pick. Oh, wait, sorry. No, we don't. Not for the next couple of years. In fact, hell, the draft picks. I mean, even if we did have a draft pick, what would it matter? We don't do anything with them anyway.
No.
Ambry Thomas can't even get on the field ahead of, Drake Kirkpatrick, who's over there getting stiff arm to the dirt. Not even stiff arm. He just got ran over.
He just got trucked over. He couldn't make a play. It was almost similar to that play that he had against Indianapolis, where he just looked lost trying to make a play on the ball. And this was actually even worse because he just got trucked. I mean, it was just him and the running back next lined up, face to face, and he got trucked. And
Mike McGlinchey's out too in this game, so we got to see Todd Compton just gain.
That's another thing. The offensive
right
line was absolutely terrible after Mike McGlinchey left the game. Compton, I mean, if we can't find someone better on that offensive line somewhere around the league, then the front office just isn't doing their thing. And again, we did draft somebody, right?
Yeah, Aaron Banks, where are you at?
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron Banks, Ambry Thomas just going to waste. And, of course, even in a good Jimmy Garoppolo game with a bad team performance, the Trey Lance rumors grow just a little bit more exponentially. And if we lose to the Rams at that point, the season's over. So I guess I have to go with that camp as well, because what else are you doing at that point? Yeah. Because hell, Kyle said it in his presser a week ago, as long as we still have a chance to play and win, I'm going to start the guys that I know can go out there, play and win. But at that point, if we're losing the next game here, season's cooked. So
yeah, season's over.
Yeah. All right. Well, Niners fans, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who are you putting the blame on? My vote, Demeco here. Leave a like on this video. Juju Talk Sports, Jose Carrell. We'll see you next time.